I think it's already recording.
It's on Fireflies, but we're going to do Zoom as well. All right, so here we go. Five, four. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to this very special event, the official launch of What Space Got to Do with It 10 Life Lessons for Personal Growth. I'm Shelley Brunswick, and I'm honored to be your host today as we embark on a journey of discovery, leadership, and growth. This book has been a passion project inspired by my 35-year career in the aerospace industry and my interviews with over 200 extraordinary global thought leaders. Our mission for this book and this event is simple but profound: to bridge the principles of space exploration and innovation with everyday leadership and personal growth. The lessons we're about to explore aren't just theoretical, they are tangible, practical principles that anyone can apply, whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, a seasoned executive, or someone seeking inspiration to reach new heights in your life or career. Today, we have the rare opportunity to hear directly from four incredible change makers featured in the book. These leaders, innovators, and visionaries embody the lessons of courage, resilience, and purposeful leadership. Their stories remind us that the principles of space exploration, like embracing the unknown, cultivating meaningful relationships, and mastering patience, perseverance, and passion, are just as essential here on Earth as they are in the stars. Here's what you can expect during the next 90 minutes. First, I'll introduce our incredible speakers. Each of them will have the chance to share their journey, highlight the key lessons from their chapter, and offer personal reflections on leadership, innovation, and growth. We'll have cross dialogue and Q&A, where I'll pose key questions to our panelists, and we'll close with some key takeaways and a final message for all of you. Even though this event is recorded, I encourage you to be fully present. Grab a notebook, write down the insights that resonate with you, and think about how to apply these principles to your life. If something that one of our speakers shares inspires you, I invite you to share it on social media with the hashtag What's Space Got to Do with It? I'd love to see your reflections, your aha moment, and lessons that stand out to you. Now, let's meet our featured speakers. These are leaders from around the world who have contributed to this book and are living proof of its core message that courage, resilience, and a clear purpose, with those things, you can achieve greatness in any field. And I'm honored to introduce them to you now. I'd like to start with our first speaker is Stella Lupashore, the founder of Reframe Work, where she helps organizations reimagine their workplace strategies for the future of work. Her expertise in human capital transformation and workplace innovation has made a lasting impact on companies worldwide. Stella, we'd love to hear a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. I am a technology first, trained in computer science and math, who ended up in the world of HR by chance and never looked back. I believe the work that I do through transformational projects, through consulting work, is impacting the well-being and the experience of workers in companies that I interact with and advise. I also advise a lot of startups and venture funds because I believe innovation is, especially in the space of HR, is evolving really fast, and it's important to keep the humanity at the center of this evolution and ensuring the well-being of the individuals at work. I also teach at NYU because I believe in giving back and developing the profession and also helping the next generation of HR leaders bring more human-centered practices to the work environment. And I'm a really uh, a big fan of always been a big fan of science fiction, of this innovation. And I believe a lot of the books that I grew up were the textbooks for a lot of innovators that made those um, at that time, science fiction a reality today. So to me, this conversation is so timely and so important because I hope that we can inspire the next generation of um, future vision that some innovators would bring to life. Thrilled to be here.
Well, thank you so much, Stella. We're thrilled that you're here with us too. Next, we have Gabriella Goddard, a creative powerhouse and the founder of BrainSparker, a creativity coaching platform used by more than 500,000 people worldwide. Welcome, Gabriella.
Thank you, Shelley. And it's an absolute delight to be here with such an esteemed group of leaders. Yes, as Shelley said, I'm the founder of BrainSparker app. It's one of the top ranking creativity apps people use for brainstorming to overcome blocks and spark brilliant ideas. But I kind of fell into it a bit like Stella. And because my background actually is for the last 20 years, I've been an executive coach and leadership development expert. And about 10 years ago, I decided to specialize in innovation and creativity and did some studies at Stanford, Harvard Business School, and also IDEO. And so I really love the whole the industry of innovation and creating something that doesn't exist before. And about 4 years ago, sadly, three of my closest friends passed away from cancer within a 3 year period. And when those things happen, it makes you realize that life's really, really short. And I really, in those moments, connected with my passion for space. And like many people, you think, well, I'm not an astronaut, I'm not a space engineer. How can I work in the area of space? But I went to the International Space University and did the executive program. I got onto the United Nations Space for Women program, which is where I met our Shelley. And I later became a mentor for the UK Space Agency accelerators, working with the startup founders who are developing all these sorts of technologies and ideas that are going to evolve humanity. And so sometimes you think, well, what difference can I make and how can I get into space? Trust me, where there's a will, there's definitely a way. And I think your book, Shelley, is a fantastic roadmap for people to build their confidence to find their way into space.
Well, thank you so much, Gabriella. We're so honored that you're able to join us. Next, we have Tuana Yazici, a visionary entrepreneur and the founder of the Tuana Group. Tuana is a leader in AI and space technology, bridging these two groundbreaking fields in a way that are transforming industries. Welcome, Tuana.
Thank you so much, Shelley. So, just to give a quick background on me and my work, I am the founder, chair, and CEO of Tuana Group, which is a holding company, along with its two subsidiaries, Aero AI Voyages and Aero AI Design Lab, as well as the nonprofit Aero AI Global Solutions. And through these entities, I aim to leverage AI and space technologies to address global challenges and improve living conditions worldwide. And currently, as a third year law student and a member of the International Institute of Space Law, or ISL, and a student helicopter pilot working towards a private license, I hold a master's in international administration with a concentration in international space law and a bachelor's in philosophy, politics, economics, or PPE. And I have authored publications in space law and frequently speak at global conferences, sharing insights on AI regulation and space technology. And just to give an example of our latest research, it focused on creating frameworks for the responsible use and regulation of AI and space technologies. And this example is through my role as the initiator and chair of the ISL working group on legal aspects of AI in space, which gives in-depth analysis and gives recommendations on how AI should be regulated in space. And in just 5 months, my team and I produced a comprehensive 400-page manuscript, which is set to be published in early 2025, and we'll be giving talks about this later after its publications, and hopefully to the UN Legal Subcommittee as well to showcase our work. So through my work, I remain committed to advancing ethical innovation, fostering collaboration, and shaping a more sustainable and equitable future.
Well, thank you, Tuana. Exciting, and you're becoming a helicopter pilot ties in with our next speaker. Finally, we have Klaus von Storch, an aerospace engineer and visionary leader dedicated to advancing space exploration and technology development. Klaus has devoted his career to pushing the boundaries of what is possible in space exploration, and he is also a pilot as well. So, Klaus, welcome.
Thank you, Shelley. Good day, everyone, and thanks, Shelley, to giving me the opportunity to take a moment to share a little about my journey. I was actually born in Chile in February 1962, so a long time ago. But this day was marked by John Glenn historic orbit of the Earth. So growing up in a country without a formal program, I found my inspiration in aviation and space exploration. Actually, my father, an aviation enthusiast, he often took us to airfields where we had the chance, I and my brothers, and had the chance to see aircraft up close. And my aunt in the United States sent us the mission patches and photographs of the Apollo 11. So this small but significant moment sparked my lifelong passion for space. And at 60, I joined the Chilean Air Force, where I became a fighter pilot and later an aerospace engineer at the University of Southern California. But my path was not without challenges. A tragic meteor collision changed my life forever. Somehow I emerged from that experience with the two main lessons. One is the importance of living with a purpose and the incredible power of resilience in the face of adversity. And years later, I had the honor of meeting Neil Armstrong, a moment that reignited the passion for space exploration and reminded me of the value of perseverance. Thought I never went to space myself yet, even I had a couple of opportunities. I contributed to a project, some projects with the first Chilean satellite, a NASA Ladybug in space experiment, which explored somehow biological adaptation in microgravity. And these initiatives were not just about advancing science, but also about inspiring future generations to dream beyond their limits. I was selected by the Chilean Air Force and government to become the first Chilean astronaut, together with a great set of projects, with a couple of real opportunities to fly to space. But bureaucracy has been interfering in these options. Throughout my journey, I have learned that passion, perseverance, and patience are the keys to achieving even the most ambitious goals. And my story, I would say, is a testament to the idea that with dedication and vision, even the most unlikely dreams can take flight. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Klaus. Amazing journey, and more to share because you just gave us a little teaspoon of what's exciting about it. What I'd like to do now is actually pivot into talking about the various chapters and then having each individual highlight their story and how it ties in with those chapters. So I'm going to start with chapter 3, Embracing the Uncharted Cosmos. Conquering Fear of the Unknown explores how the vast unknown, whether in space or life, can feel daunting, but it's also a place of immense possibility. Just as space exploration requires courage to venture into uncharted territories, our personal and professional journeys often call us to step outside our comfort zones. This chapter challenges us to see uncertainty as an open canvas for creativity, where the absence of a clear path allows us to design our own future. Through the stories of visionary thought leaders, we learn how to transform fear into a powerful force for growth, change, and innovation. One of those extraordinary leaders is Stella. Her chapter highlights the courage to embrace change and the creative power of navigating the unknown with intention. Today, she'll share her story of how she turned moments of uncertainty into pivotal opportunities for growth and impact. Stella, we're so honored to have you with us. Please share a little bit about your story with us today.
Again, honored to be here. I can't wait to hear everyone else's story. Based on just the introductions alone, I'm at the edge, on the edge of my seat. So my story is all full of pivots, as I'm sure everyone else is here on the stage. Um, I remember sitting with my son. He was 16 and trying to decide what he wants to do, which school he wanted to apply. He was always passionate about the music and wanted to pursue jazz trumpet career. But on the flip side, he also was worried about his ability to earn an income, and is this a stable career? Is this the right choice to make? And I was reflecting on my own path and journey, and my story was um, something I draw upon to help him navigate this decision. And I told him that I grew up in a country that no longer exists. I spoke a language that no longer exists. There's nothing that is not possible to change and transform. So make a decision that feels right in the moment, because if things do not work out, you're young, you have a whole life ahead of you, you'll always be able to pivot. And I think that type of attitude was what helped me move from um, Soviet Union and being a student at the time when the Soviet Union fell apart, and being able to navigate the economic downturn and complete decimation of the infrastructure that was uh, uh, in the country, and reimagine what the possibilities might be. The fact that the world opened up for us, and I was able to move across countries, across continents, and end up in the US. It was something that I never could have imagined. So when people during interview ask me what the next 5 years plan looks like for you, I never have one because I don't know what might happen tomorrow, right? The whole country may collapse, or um, a new technology gets invented, and then can create a whole new set of opportunities, and career trajectory may change in a very dramatic way. So the the journey of always looking for the next positive opportunity that may come across your way, and not overthinking before saying yes if in your gut it feels right. So that's how my trajectory evolved. As I mentioned, I was starting in math and computer science. I ended up working on a variety of technical projects in software development. And the question for me was always, what if? What if you can create something that is more automatable and you don't need to develop the code every single time? So that's how I ended up in ERP, enterprise software solutions, where a lot of the features and functionalities pre-built and you just customize. And then I said, what if you can change the process and then the system will follow? And that's how I ended up in process improvement. So always going up the value chain. What if you look at the service delivery models, then the process will follow and the technology will follow. So that's how I moved into um, service delivery transformation work. And then what if you change the strategy? Then the service delivery will follow and the process will follow, etc. So always trying to go to the root cause of transformation and finding levers to influence the change in a positive way for the workplace, for the employee experience, because I could relate to that. And I also have three children, and they are both my teachers, but also the workers. So my work connects and transcends towards not just improving my own conditions, but my children's, and hopefully everyone's children's who engage in work activities. One thing that keeps coming back to, and Shelley, this is kind of the key words that you use to describe is, the courage, resilience, relationship building. The relationship building was a cornerstone of my career and my life. I think for the most part is humans who work alongside with you, who inspire you, who are role models for you, and building relationships with them is what propels you forward. So for me, meeting mentors and people from different career pathways open up doors. open up homes when I would travel somewhere, open up access to different cultures. Um, when you and I met, Shelley, I was at the early stages of designing my course at NYU, and you inspired me to integrate a lot of the passion I have and kind of curiosity and interest in the space exploration. And part of the class is working on a case study that builds the HR organization that establishes a settlement on Mars. To me, that's on one side, yes, it's going to happen at some point in time, if not in our lifetime, in the next generation's lifetime. And from HR perspective, we need to start thinking about the experiences and limitations and opportunities, but also that future thinking can bring hopefully some new innovative ways of changing the workplace for the current workforce. So again, building relationships with different inspiring leaders that then can open up a whole new set of opportunities, but hopefully inspire others to also look at these frontier of evolution and bring it to their own profession in whatever capacity they can. So um, pivots along the journey, right? Moved from Soviet Union and lived in Moldova, lived in Ukraine, lived in Russia, moved to US and moved in the US alongside, pivoted across careers in technology, in HR, in people analytics, and now a lot of the strategic work that I'm doing at the intersection of AI in the context of the workplace and rethinking what the work is going to look like. What are the workers of the future? Because now you have humans working alongside digital agents, alongside robotic agents across different physical and digital workspaces. So that's the next frontier for me to research and explore.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stella. Let me ask you, how did you see the lessons in your chapter, which again is on conquering the fear of the unknown, play a role in the future of leadership? How do you see it playing a role in the future of leadership, especially for the next generation of leaders?
I think ambiguity and uncertainty, that's another key word that was used earlier, is not going anywhere. I think it's going to be a consistent theme for the reality in which we live, given the fast-paced changes that are happening around us, be that technology is evolving faster than we can actually comprehend, be that scientific discoveries that are becoming possible as a result of using these technologies, be that as humanity rebels against some of these changes and pulls back into the um, scarcity mindset. Being a leader in this environment, it requires more than just management skills or business acumen. It requires a very different degree of empathy and humility. And combining intuition and sense of common sense with data and facts and leaving a little bit of a um, discomfort with the unknown to the side because you have to make a decision in the moment and you need to use the full arsenal of all your life experiences to make that decision in a moment, but always bring that human-centric lens, right? Yes, this may be right for the business, but is this right for the workers that are going to be displaced? Yes, this is right for the profitability, but are we considering the environmental impact? And I love the Tuana's focus on utilization of AI in space. Right now, we're moving from the outer from the earthly gravity challenges to the outer space. What is that environment going to look like, and how can we prepare the workforce of the future? How we can prepare ourselves for living in that um, ambiguity when tomorrow may look very differently, and the courage um, it is a big word, and I think it's going to become bigger and bigger, a more critical component of the leadership of the tomorrow, because you have to have courage to stand for your values, to stand for the rule of law, to stand for what's right by the humanity and more ethical considerations of the emerging environment and decisions that we have to make.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stella. Fantastic insight. Now I'd like to pivot to chapter 7, which is the celestial gardening. Blooming where you are planted reminds us that growth doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. Instead, it happens right where we are, in the soil of our present circumstances. Instead, apologize, like a garden that thrives even on rocky ground with care and attention, we too can bloom in challenging environments. This chapter invites us to see every place, every role, and every moment as an opportunity for growth. Focusing on what's within our control allows us to transform ordinary situations into extraordinary opportunities for personal and professional development. It's not about waiting for the right moment or ideal conditions. It's about cultivating potential in the here and now. One of the extraordinary leaders featured in this chapter is Gabriella. Her story shows us how to shift from a mindset of waiting to a mindset of action. She teaches us how to recognize the opportunities right in front of us and transform them into something extraordinary. Gabriella, we're so glad that you're here with us. We look forward to hearing about your journey.
Thank you, Shelley. I absolutely love being in this chapter. You've probably detected that I've got an accent. So I come from a beautiful country called New Zealand down under. I think we've only got like 5 million people as a population, but we've certainly made our mark on many, on history, for example, for rugby and cricket. But also rockets as well. And if you told me, 20 years ago that I could see rockets going up to space from my terrace, because I used to live near Rotorua, I'd say, oh, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. But here it is happening. And one of the things I love about being a Kiwi, which is a New Zealander, is we have this really can-do attitude. Um, if you can do it, we're going to do it. And we also have this concept of Kiwi ingenuity. It's inbred in all of us. And it's basically that sort of like an innovative mindset of, if there's a will, there is a way. And I think when we're talking about blooming, it's so important to really understand your roots as well and what you take from your heritage and from, where you've come from. And so I've gone through my career with that kind of can-do attitude, that Kiwi ingenuity. I've ended up specializing in innovation. And like most Kiwis, we tend to think, well, the grass is always greener on the other side of the world. So we put our backpack on and we go traveling. And that's what I did. I ended up, first of all, living in Japan, which was an amazing country to be in. But it really taught me as well, when you're, for many of you who live in a foreign country, foreign language, how you have to adapt, find your way of relating, find new customs, speak a new language. And it can be incredibly challenging, but also it's very rewarding because it gives you so many different perspectives on your own thinking and on your own assumptions. And I had thought that I was going to become a food technologist. That's what I did my degree in. I had a vision of working for the Nestle candy factory and living in heaven and taste testing candy. But I decided after doing that degree that actually I didn't want to be stuck in a factory. I wanted to be more out there. And I did a 1-year MBA in marketing and international business. And that's the area I pursued. And so what my kind of work experience in marketing, it led me to Mexico, living in Mexico for 5 years, working for a telecoms company, once again, adapting to a whole new language, a whole new culture. Absolutely loved my time in Mexico. And also coming over to the UK where I'm based now, I initially worked in a pan-European role, rolling out broadband. Remember those days when you used to have a little modem that made a whistling noise? Well, we were one of the first companies to launch broadband across Europe. And so for most of my career, I've kind of lived outside my culture, outside my comfort zone. And so I think really when you think about blooming and being a plant, that's why your roots are so important and having a sense of stability somewhere, but that often that stability is in yourself. So Stella talking about her history and where she's lived. You really do need to connect to that sense of self and having a strong sense of self, no matter what environment you're in. And then the company I worked for, rolling out broadband, went bust from the dot-com era. And I retrained in coaching because I had a coach and she said, "Oh, you're a really good listener." So I thought, well, why not train and being an executive coach? And so for 20 years, I've really worked with some amazing leaders in big corporates, but also entrepreneurs, helping them to develop their leadership presence so that they can make more of an impact on their team, on the business, but also bring their expertise and their impact into the world. And it was while I was running some workshops that I thought, you know what, I'd love to create an app, because I used to use card decks in my workshops, which were around innovation. And after a while, with my luggage, taking these big boxes of card decks, it got really, really heavy. So I decided, actually, why not create an app? I didn't know anything about apps, but I bought a book, and I followed the book line by line by line, and we launched Brain Sparker app, which uses digital card decks to spark your imagination. And in the first year, we were featured in the New York Times, which was absolutely amazing. So that's been around for 10 years, and we've got amazing sort of development strategies for that. And also, we've just introduced AI into it. And so, but as I said, my move into the space industry, it's one of those industries where innovation is a given. So when I'm discussing strategies with the startups from the UK Space Agency Accelerator, things that they're talking about every day, robotic arms driven by AI, mining meteors. I mean, this is like out of this world kind of creativity. So I think I've found my kind of soul home working in the space sector. And I think one of the things when I look back on my career is, first of all, one of my favorite quotes is Anita Roddick. She says, "If you think you're too small, try sleeping with a mosquito." And sometimes when you're from a small country like me, or from a country that might not have much support, for example, in the space sector, you think, well, what opportunities are there for me? But there are opportunities. And sometimes most of the people I've interacted with who work in the space sector, they have that kind of internal compass. Sometimes it defeats logic. Why am I wanting to do this? It defeats logic, but you have this internal pull, a sense of purpose. And I think Klaus spoke to that, that sense of having a purpose is really, really important. And so kind of bringing it back to blooming, think of yourself as like a big sunflower. So really having strong roots in yourself, also connecting to your heritage as well, understanding that there's going to be adversity, you're going to face challenges. And that's why that sense of inner strength is so important. You are going to face challenges. And as things speed up, things get more digital, things get more complex and faster, you're going to have to be more agile as well. So really having kind of strategies to manage that. But also ultimately, when you think of a sunflower, the big yellow flower, it's the passion, following your passion, and realizing that just because no one in your country's done it, no one in your family's done it, no one in your neighborhood's done it, doesn't mean that you can't do it. And history is full of people who have broken that mold, and I've met a lot of people in my journey who are doing things that have never been done before. And if not you, then who? And so that's a bit about my journey there, Shelley.
Fabulous. Thank you, Gabriella. So I'm going to kind of ask you the same question I asked Stella about how you see the lessons in your chapter on Blooming Where You're Planted playing a role in the future of leadership, especially for the next generation of leaders.
It's a great question, because I think there's kind of four things that I think are important. The first of all is to embrace where you are planted, right? So where you happen to be, embrace that that's exactly where you are. But secondly, if you're not happy there, then do something about it. It's life. Honestly, life is short. There's so many opportunities open to us now, especially women as well. There's so many opportunities open to us. So really understand that if you're staying stuck and frustrated, then that is your choice. And one of the best things to do is actually admit it to yourself, snap out of denial. So I was coaching someone last year who really liked her job but didn't like the company and didn't like how she was treated. And in the conversation, she eventually said, I don't want to work here anymore. And just by saying those words out aloud, it was like, okay, I've said it. Now I've got to do something about it. And so the second thing is then to take committed action. So when you're stepping outside your comfort zone, it can be scary when you kind of think, well, here I'm here and I want to be up there. But actually, if you take small steps every day, you'll make progress and it will be a lot less painful. And really having that growth mindset as well that Shelley, you mentioned early on, is that, you know, life is challenging. It can throw challenges at us, but seeing those as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become a better person, to make more of a contribution. And that brings me to my last point, which is about legacy. Talking about, you know, blooming where you're planted. In the Maori culture, the indigenous people of New Zealand, they talk a lot about whakapapa, which is your ancestors, and taking strength from your ancestors. And my ancestors were potato farmers in Ireland. And you know, if I could sort of go back and meet them and say, you know, one day one of their offspring is going to be on this webinar with these amazing people talking about space and leadership, I mean, they just wouldn't be able to believe it. But we are the legacy of our ancestors, but thinking about the future generations as well, what impact can we have on the future generations and on the society that we're creating, and basically, you know, evolving humanity in a way that hasn't been done before. And so I feel very privileged to be able to bring my experience to the space industry, to leadership, and also to learn from the younger generation as well, and sort of understand, you know, not so much how we can I've got a quote actually I just wanted to share. It's the Ralph Waldo Emerson one. It's like, do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And this is the exciting place that we're at, I think, at this particular time in the world. And each one of us can make an impact.
Fabulous. Thank you, Gabriella. That was so exciting and powerful. And the Maori quote I know is, "We're all in the canoe together." So I thank you for that. And now I'm going to pivot on to our next speaker and chapter, and that's going to be chapter 9, Aligning the Stars, Embracing the Mindfulness in the Astral Dance. It invites us to pause, breathe, and embrace the power of presence. In a world that's constantly moving at warp speed, mindfulness often offers us the clarity to see the path ahead and the calm to walk with it with purpose. Just as the alignment of stars reveals how new constellations, practicing mindfulness allows us to bring order and intention to our lives, especially during moments of uncertainty and challenge. This chapter highlights how being fully present can help us reduce stress, sharpen our emotional intelligence, and approach leadership with greater clarity. By grounding ourselves in the present moment, we gain the power to transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. It's a shift from reacting to circumstances to intentionally navigating them with focus and purpose. One of the extraordinary leaders featured in this chapter is Tawana. Her perspective on mindfulness and leadership is a timely reminder for all of us navigating today's fast-paced world. In her story, Tawana shows us how mindfulness has been a catalyst for clarity, focus, and growth in her leadership journey. Thank you, Tawana, for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Shelley. So, to discuss my journey a little bit, my journey has taught me that, like you said, opportunities are not simply about seizing what comes your way, but they're about actively shaping the path you actually want to walk on. And this principle guided me through every stage of my life. So, to give a little context, I was born in Istanbul, Turkey, into a family where creativity, education, perseverance, and humanitarian values were core principles. So from a young age, discipline and creativity were constants in my life. And I hosted my first art exhibition at the age of 4, and then illustrated and published my first children's book at the age of 7, which actually became a second bestseller under children's books in Turkey. And this then marked the beginning of a series of 4 children's books that I wrote and illustrated. And they're all about focusing on protecting animals and the environment and our people. And so I donated all the proceeds to animal charities, reflecting my lifelong passion for animals, the environment, and humanitarian causes. And it's also because I truly believe that these sorts of values start at an early age, which is why I also truly focus on like the youngest generation, to showcase these values in a way that would resonate with them through the illustrations and the stories that I told in these books. So my dedication to animal welfare then extended well beyond the creative endeavors. And at the age of 19, I became a primary consultant for the Princess Islands Workshop, which is an initiative that was led by Istanbul's mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu. And this feasibility plan for the city resulted in a law that banned horse-drawn carriages in the Princess Islands and transported the entire system to electric cars, saving 1,500 abused horses. And this was done through a feasibility plan that I created because there were so many protests that were done for many years at these islands. And protests are great for raising awareness, but I learned that there needs to be another step, which is you have to work with the policymakers. Like you can't have them against you. You have to find mutual ground, negotiate, find a solution that works for both, because at the end of the day, they do have the say. So I saw that at an early age, at the age of 19, which is why I saw the power of law and how important that is to make permanent change. And this also reinforced my belief in the power of taking purposeful action to drive that meaningful change. So then when I was 9, going actually back to when I was 9, my family moved to the US. And this transition challenged me in many, many ways that I could not have anticipated. And as I'm sure you can guess, Turkish was my first language. But I'm sure that you can't guess that German was my second language, because I actually went to an Austrian school in Turkey. And then when I moved to the States, I was faced with learning English and also French at the same time in a completely unfamiliar culture. And I was put into normal classes with everyone else. So no one actively taught me English. And instead of being completely overwhelmed, I approached these challenges with patience and curiosity and a mindful attitude, staying present and accepting each obstacle as an opportunity for growth. And this mindset grounded me and helped me thrive, proving that resilience and openness can transform even the most daunting challenges into meaningful progress. And then these lessons became the foundation of my approach to life. And by 24, which is my age now, I graduated from the University of Miami a year early with a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics, or PPE, and a minor in psychology. I completed my master's degree in international administration with a concentration in international space law in just 1 year. And I'm now finishing law school, my 3rd year, my last semester, while running my holding company, Tuana Group, along with its 2 subsidiaries, Aero AI Voyages and Aero AI Design Lab, and Aero AI Global Solutions, which is a nonprofit leveraging space tech and AI for humanitarian purposes. And through Aero AI Guardian, which is one of our flagship projects here at Aero AI Global Solutions, I was able to shape an opportunity to combine all my passions: technology, human rights, animal welfare, and environmental sustainability. And in this project, it's to monitor human and wildlife trafficking hotspots using space technologies. And this initiative, grounded in my publication research in 2022, uses satellite imagery, radar, radio frequency data, and AI to combat this illegal activity. illustrating how purposeful innovation can address global challenges. And another one that I previously mentioned during my short bio was the study group that I initiated, which is on with the International Institute of Space Law. And this specifically, it's all about proactive actions and not waiting for these challenges to exceed in a way that it's almost too late to make those meaningful changes. And then you're left with just reacting to the changes that have been made, because you waited a little too long to make those changes. So this entire publication is about laying out the framework for how AI should be regulated in an ethical and humanitarian way, while also pushing for innovation at the same time, because that is both doable. So basically, my thirst for knowledge played a crucial role in my growth. And I also spent my summers at prestigious institutions just to learn the culture more, understand how people work, and understand the difference in education in different countries. So I studied at Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Franklin University in Switzerland, and Florence University of the Arts, and American University of Paris. And they helped broaden my perspective and helped me forge very valuable connections across the globe. So discipline, creativity, and purpose have also always guided me through life. And from pursuing ballet, martial arts from over a decade, to my passion for piano, training as a helicopter pilot, these all taught me that leadership starts by knowing yourself, your values, and how you use those skills to serve others. So that's what I have for you.
Awesome, Tuana. Amazing story. And as you can tell, Stella, Gabriella, Tuana, you all have had the journey that you left a homeland, one country, and transitioned to another. Some of you transitioned to many different countries before you found the one you're in today, but some similarities there. But Tuana, how do you see the lessons in your chapter on mindfulness playing a role in the future of leadership, especially for our next generation?
So I believe the lessons in my chapter here with Shelley's book in my hand, opportunities are not just about seizing, again, what comes your way, but actively shaping the path that you want to walk on. That's the main lesson in my chapter, is essential for the future of leadership, particularly for the next generation of leaders. And so the leaders of tomorrow will face a world filled with complex challenges, technological advancements, environmental crises, and humanitarian needs that demand leadership that is grounded in meaningful action and purpose. So true leadership is not about passively waiting for the opportunities or simply reacting to these circumstances, but intentionally creating paths and drive meaningful change and align with one's values. And Gabriella, I think about the quote that you said about, when you're forging your own path, you create the, you don't wait for that, follow the path that's already created, but you create the footsteps for the path that you take on yourself. And so by being proactive, which is what drives all of my work, being purposeful and steadfast in these convictions, leaders can shape a future that is lasting and create that positive impact. And this approach has been the core of my journey. So as I mentioned, when we moved to the US, we didn't know anyone, and I had to start from scratch. And later, as I pursued my education and career in Miami, I found myself in an environment where no one was working in the space sector, let alone able to guide me. Even during my undergraduate studies, I took the initiative to shape my academic path. So when I was inspired by my time studying philosophy, politics, economics, PP in Oxford, and I actually created that program at my university as my major. And I believe that it would provide a strong foundation for my understanding of complex systems and leadership. And I complemented that with my minor in psychology to deepen my understanding of human behavior and decision making, and which are very much invaluable for leadership and problem solving, that emotional intelligence. And now I knew I had to go. And once I did that through my master's, there again wasn't, I had to create my concentration in international space law. That sorts of classes weren't offered at my university. And then on top of that, I knew I had to go well beyond the classroom to get myself into this sector. So I sought out conferences, shared my unique perspectives through publications and talks, and worked to build those meaningful connections from the ground up. And I didn't wait for these opportunities to present themselves. I had to create them where they didn't exist. So this willingness to take initiative opened doors I never imagined and positioned me to contribute meaningfully to the areas that I care deeply about, such as space law and humanitarian causes. And again, one of the biggest goals of our nonprofit, and Shelley's also one of the board members of Aero AI Global Solutions, is the educational aspects of all this as well. So I know what it felt like to have to create, want to get into a sector and have zero opportunities around me. So I want to create that in areas where, again, those opportunities don't exist. So the educational part of our AI Global Solutions will help ensure that people actually have access to that in those areas. And we will announce more of our projects as we can announce them, but be on the lookout for those. So basically, just wrapping it up, these experiences showed me that leaders of tomorrow must cultivate three essential traits: resilience, creativity, and discipline. And resilience will allow them to face these sorts of setbacks without losing momentum. And I can't even tell you how many times I've heard the word no. It almost means nothing to me anymore. But those didn't let me lose momentum. I had to learn those no's will lead to a yes, and you will not get to that yes unless you hear those no's and get comfortable hearing those no's. So next, creativity will empower these leaders to see possibilities where others see limitations. When I tell you how many times people have concentrated on the challenges of the work that I do and just point to those challenges without coming up with any solutions to offer, that's not the type of people that I enjoy working with, because you see those, then don't make any sort of change in this world. Just sit and let everything happen. All the bad things around you continue to happen. Every small, like even the smallest bit of change, you're going to face challenges. So keeping that in mind, you got to just keep going, and you can't lose momentum in those scenarios. And then discipline, again, that ties everything together. Will give leaders the focus and determination to turn visions into reality, because it's one thing to visualize, but another thing to actually follow through. So, and that's no matter how uncertain the path ahead may seem. So for the next generation, this means taking ownership of their journeys. It means knowing your values, aligning your actions with your purpose, and having the courage to create opportunities where none exist. And leadership is about being intentional, not just for personal success, but for the betterment of society and the world at large. So I hope that my journey serves as an example that challenges can become opportunities, and values are the foundation of impactful leadership, and that meaningful change comes from actively shaping the past we taught. So in a world filled with complexity, the next generation of leaders holds the power to transform obstacles into these opportunities, lead with purpose, and leave behind a legacy of lasting positive change.
Excellent. Thank you, Tawana, for sharing that incredible journey and insights on what the next generation can do as they look at mindfulness, because we are constantly being bombarded with emails and text messages and so on. So I think you made it very helpful for the next generation. Now we're going to pivot into our last chapter, which is kind of a culmination chapter of the book, which is chapter 10, Stellar Virtues, Harnessing Passion, Perseverance, and Patience for Galactic Success. It reminds us that achieving greatness is not a one-time event. It's a continuous journey guided by three essential virtues: passion, perseverance, and patience. Passion ignites our dreams. Perseverance drives us to take action, and patience sustains us when the journey feels long and uncertain. These three virtues, when combined, become a powerful formula for long-term success. This chapter challenges us to reflect on how we nurture these three virtues in our own lives. Passion sparks ambition, but without perseverance, dreams remain unrealized. And when progress feels slow, patience becomes the compass that keeps us moving forward. Whether it's pursuing a career goal, launching a new venture, or overcoming personal challenges, these three guiding principles remind us that success is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. One of the extraordinary leaders featured in this chapter is Klaus. His story illustrates how passion, perseverance, and patience have guided his career and fueled his ambition and ability to overcome these challenges on the path to success. Klaus's insights remind us that while passion may light the spark, perseverance and patience keep the fire burning. Klaus, we're honored to have you with us today, and we look forward to hearing more about your journey and insights.
Thank you very much, Shelly. Thanks for your introduction. Yeah, thanks. I was born in Chile, South America, a very long country, but very narrow. We have a beautiful site, so we hope to see you someday here in Chile, tasting our nice wine and the sightseeing. Yeah, about the story. Imagine standing on the edge of the unknown, staring the vast of the expanse of the cosmos, where challenges and possibilities are infinite. So the story of my life, and probably most of us, is a journey shaped by passion, perseverance, and patience. And those are the very qualities that define not just leadership, but the human spirit. So my journey into the cosmos began in Chile, a country without a formal space program, but now we are working a little bit more on it, so we hope to be more formal on that. But somehow it's necessary to feel the dreams as the vast universe by itself. So as a child, I was captivated by the Apollo mission patches I named before, and the photographs of the astronauts, which are treasures sent by my aunt from the United States. The small tokens of the space race sparked a fire within me, a passion for space exploration that became the rocket fuel for my life trajectory. And so that way, at 16, I joined the Chilean Air Force, while most of the teenagers were navigating high schools. I was piloting fighter jets driven by insatiable hunger for the skies. Later, my path led me go to the University of Southern California because the Air Force chose me to be the first Chilean astronaut. So I went to study aerospace engineering, and I immersed myself of aerospace engineering. But dreams, as grand as they may be, are never without obstacles, and we all know about that. One of the most profound challenges I faced was a tragic meteor collision where I had to eject, and unfortunately, three of my best friends died at that accident, which was in the very south of Chile in the Magellan Strait. So a cold winter day, I was swimming in that low temperature part of the Chilean place. I lost these colleagues and friends, and my life hung on the thread. So, emerging as the sole survivor, I learned two invaluable lessons. One of them is that life is fragile and demands purpose. So, the purpose of life is very important, and that resilience is not optional; it's essential. The resilience was tested again and again in my life, especially in a country like Chile, where the path to space exploration was fraught with the bureaucracy and roadblocks. But each challenge only depends, deepen it somehow my resolve. So I came to see obstacles not as a barrier, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow. And a turning point in my journey was very interesting. I began to know Neil Armstrong. I was trying to invite him to FIDA here in Chile. There was no way, and suddenly he arrived in Chile, and somebody asked me, Klaus, can you please be the host of Neil Armstrong? So someday I was sitting face to face with the man who had walked on the moon. And it was very mystical. Neil shared stories about Apollo near catastrophic failures and triumphant success. His words remind me that setbacks are not the end. They're part of the journey. And they teach us to endure, to persist, and to rise stronger. So that meeting reignited my passion and gave me courage to continue striving towards the star. So he always like when we were talking, he always said, you have to be very patient in life. And of course, to be patient sometimes is not easy. And one of my proudest achievements was coordinating the Ladybug experiment in space, which was aboard the NASA STS-93 mission. This experiment explored how life adapts to microgravity, a vital question for the future of human space exploration. Watching students engage with this project and seeing their wonder as they followed the journey of Ladybug in space was profoundly rewarding. Especially these kids were from a very humid, like they didn't have many chances in life, and suddenly they were immersed in a really incredible project related with NASA, with space. And of course, after they finished this project, their dreams grew a lot, and now they're like very important. They studied really nice careers like medical doctors and others. So it was very rewarded. It was a reminder that our work isn't just about achieving milestones. It's about inspiring others to dream bigger than they ever thought possible. And this happened with this Ladybug experiment. But passion and perseverance are not only part of the equation. Patience, I have learned, is just as crucial. Space exploration is a long-term endeavor requiring meticulous planning, collaboration, and the ability to weather delays and setbacks, whether operating Chile's first satellite or navigating complex regulatory landscapes. I discovered that the power of patience in building relationship and valuing teamwork is important. Reflecting on my journey, I see that passion, perseverance, and patience are not just qualities. They are a formula. Passion ignites the fire within us, and perseverance pushes us forward through adversity. And patience gives us the strength to endure, to plan, and to succeed. Today, as I share my story, I hope it serves as a reminder, not a dream. There's no dream too distant where your goal is among the stars or here on Earth. Leaderships begin with a vision, thrives on resilience, and endures through patience. My journey is not just my own, it's a testament to limitless potential which is within each of us. So I leave you with this thought. What fuels your journey? What is the passion that ignites your soul, the perseverance that keeps you moving, and the patience that allows you to endure? Whether you answer, hold onto it. So let it guide your behind the stars. So it's on you. And I think we all have some part of my story and your story also.
Excellent. Thank you, Klaus. I'm going to ask you the same kind of question. How do you see the lessons in your chapter on passion, perseverance, and patience playing a role in the future of leadership, especially for the next generation?
Of the three virtues, passion, perseverance, and patience, I believe patience is probably the most difficult to master, while passion and perseverance are essential in propelling us forward. Patience is required. It requires a deeper level of understanding and discipline. It's easy to feel the drive of passion and the urgency of perseverance, but waiting for the right moment or enduring long-term challenges demands a level of self-control that is not always instinctive. So patience is essentially difficult because it involves trusting the process, even when progress seems slow or setbacks occur. It requires the ability to stay focused on long-term goals without getting frustrated or discouraged. by the inevitable delays and obstacles you may encounter in life. In a world that often prioritizes immediate result, patient calls for a mindset that values the journey. Recognizing the true growth and success takes, of course, a lot of time. So for future leaders, mastering patience will be absolutely critical as they navigate through complex projects, build relationships, and shape lasting changes. It's not about waiting passively, but about remaining committed and steady. So even committed and steady, even if they face uncertainty. So patience is something the future leaders really need to work on.
Excellent. Thank you, Klaus. Wow. What an incredible journey we've been on together today. We've explored powerful lessons on courage, resilience, mindfulness, and the virtues of passion, perseverance, and patience. These aren't just ideas on a page. They are principles that shape the way we lead, grow, and succeed in every aspect of our lives. It's been a privilege to hear the stories of our extraordinary speakers, Stella, Gabriella, Tuwana, and Klaus. Their insights remind us that leadership isn't a title, it's a mindset. Each of them has shown us that what it means to lead with intention, to rise in the face of adversity, and to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. As we close, I encourage each of you to reflect on one key takeaway from today's session. Maybe it's the courage to embrace the unknown, to bloom where you're planted, or the patience to keep going when the road feels long. Whatever your takeaway is, write it down, own it, and put it into action in your personal and professional life. And of course, I'd love for you to continue this journey with me and our distinguished speakers. If you haven't already, I invite you to get a copy of What's Space Got to Do with It? 10 Life Lessons for Personal Growth. It's packed with stories and strategies from global thought leaders, including the remarkable individuals you met today. You'll find it on Amazon, and I promise it's a resource you'll return to again and again as you chart your path forward. Until next time, I'm Shelley Brunswick, and I look forward to seeing you around the galaxy.